The movie begins with Jake Sully narrating about his life in Pandora as the chief. He mentions that he and his wife Neytiri have a total of 5 children, 2 sons, Ned-I-Am and Locke, a daughter Tuck, their adopted daughter Kiri, and a human boy named Spider. In the next scene, Jake explains that Kiri is the daughter of his friend Grace, who died while fighting alongside the Navi people against humans. As for Spider, he was left behind when all the humans returned to Earth after their defeat. Jake mentions that the children play and care for each other well, despite their differences in color and body size. All live together like a family. Neytiri dislikes Spider because he is the son of the man who almost destroyed the Navis. Spider has lived with the Navi his entire life. He believes he is one of them. Neytiri and Jack see bright spaceships in the sky. The spaceships then attack, causing widespread destruction and many deaths. Soldiers with robotic artillery emerge from the spaceships and finish off the rest of the area. Neytiri and Jake are shocked to see that the attacking spaceship belongs to humans who want to colonize Pandora and build a new main operating station. The scene then shifts to a laboratory where scientists have managed to create a Navi clone of the Colonel. The Colonel is a clone who has been fed memories and data collected before his death, but he does not know who killed him or how. The scientists also created clones of other soldiers who were present during their previous attack on Pandora. As a result, the Colonel and his men are determined to destroy the Amatikea, especially Jake. While Jake leads a Navi army to defend against the intruders, he infiltrates the RDA train supply lines and steals ammunition and food. During this operation, one of his sons, Locke, disobeys orders and gets injured. Jake scolds him and tells him to be more disciplined in the future. Meanwhile, the Colonel meets with General Ardmore, who informs him about the Navi's flying partners called Scounds, who are attacking their helicopters and slowing them down. The Colonel makes a plan to invade the forest, where they previously fought, in order to gather information about the Scounds. Scene then jumps to when Colonel arrives at the forest along with his soldiers' companions. The Colonel discovers his robotic suit with his remains inside as he being observed by Locke. Locke immediately contacts his father through a voice transmitter. Jake advises Locke to stay away and leave the area quietly. Neytiri and Jake fly immediately towards the forest to check on their children's safety. But before they could arrive, the children are captured by the humans. The Colonel takes a closer look at their fingers and realizes they are his arch-rival's children. Just then, Neytiri and Jake attack the soldiers, freeing most of their children, but unfortunately Spider is captured by the humans. The Colonel later learns that Spider is his son when he asks for his name. Back at home, Jake suggests to his wife that they leave for the eastern seaboard as he is worried about Spider revealing their location. Jake believes that the humans will keep attacking them as long as he is with the tribe, since he is the one who killed Colonel Quaritch. Neytiri doesn't want to leave their home, but she knows Jake is right and agrees to migrate with him. Meanwhile, General Ardmore subjects Spider to torture by placing him in a spinning machine. Despite his efforts, Spider remains loyal to his Navi parents and refuses to give in. The Colonel can't bear to see his son in such a state, so he stops the machine. He then approaches the General Ardmore and tells him that he will handle Spider in his own way. Later, he approaches Spider in a separate room. He tells Spider that he's not a bad person and wants to take him back to Earth, which softens Spider's heart and ultimately leads him to provide the desired information. Jake and his family leave their home and fly in their Scounds to a place called Metkaena. There, they encounter a tribe of Navis who are faint in color and prefer to live in water. The head of the tribe, Tonawari, is skeptical about Jake and his family's ability to survive in the water. However, Jake promises to adapt quickly and reveals that he is being chased by humans. Upon hearing this, Tonawari allows Jake and his family to stay and provides them with shelter. He also asks his children to teach Jake's children how to swim and use their special creatures to move around in the water. The children oblige and take their new friends to the ocean to teach them the basics. The ever-mischievous Locke tries to communicate with a sea creature, but ended up falling into the water. His antics cause Tonawari's children to laugh, while Kiri, who had adapted well to the ocean, can be seen deep below the surface, even able to control some sea creatures. The next day, Kiri was meditating underwater when Aonang and his friends approached her and mockingly called her a freak. Locke came to her defense and punched Aonang. Later, Jake learned of the altercation and demanded that Locke apologize to Aonang, to which Locke reluctantly agreed. However, Aonang was still angry and sought to teach Locke a lesson by inviting him to go swimming at a location known to have dangerous sea predators. Locke was unaware of the danger, and while fishing, a large predator approached him rapidly. In a state of panic, Locke looked for help, but found none. When all seemed lost, a giant creature, Payakan, arrived to rescue him. Payakan, a Tulkun and the largest and mightiest of them all, quickly kills the predator with the help of its wide head. Tulkuns are peaceful and intelligent creatures, and hold a spiritual significance to the Metkaena people. As Payakan rescues Locke and brings him to the surface, he also helps the creature by pulling out some harpoons that were causing it pain. This leads to the creation of a strong bond between the two and they become friends. Upon reaching land, Layak is called by Tonawari, the strict leader, who has found out about his actions and wants Ayanung to apologize. In the next scene, Layak reunites with his brother and friends and narrated the previous encounter. No one believes him. Meanwhile, Spider shares information about Navi culture with the Colonel and takes him to the Hallelujah Mountain to choose a scout. Initially, the Colonel has difficulty, but eventually becomes proficient at flying it. Upon learning about Jake's possible location, the Colonel and his army head to the Metcaina Reef. Upon arrival, they confront some water Navis and ask if they know Jake. When the Navis say no, the humans kill one of them and burn their homes. Despite this, the Navis remain firm in their statement. The Colonel then signals his team to move on to Plan B, which involves killing large numbers of Tulkuns in the hopes of drawing out Jake. Additionally, it is revealed the Tulkuns have a valuable liquid in their brains which can extend life, and a single liter of it is worth millions on Earth. Next, the humans attack the Tulkuns, attaching trackers to them and rendering them unconscious. In a sad scene, a mother Tulkun is killed while her offspring watches in shock. The humans eventually leave, leaving the trackers on the Tulkuns. When the Metcaina realize their friends are being killed, they become angry and want to fight back. Jake tries to calm them down and suggests informing the Tulkuns about the trackers to prevent future attacks. Layak leaves to inform his friend Payakan, and Ayanung and some other locals join him. They eventually meet Payakan and prepare to remove the tracker from him. But at the same time, the Colonel and his hunting crew arrive on their whale ship. Layak contacts his father and they manage to remove the tracker from Payakan's body. They hide underwater while the Colonel's crew searches for them. Meanwhile, Jake tells Tonawari that their children are missing. The Colonel's actions worry Jake and Neytiri, causing them to grab their weapons and head to the battlefield with their group. Meanwhile, the Colonel orders his crew to attack the Tulkuns and capture Jake's children, Kiri and Tuck. The Colonel arrives and handcuffs them to the railing of the ship, then demands that Jake surrender in exchange for the safety of his children. Jake has no choice but to agree. However, at this moment, Payakan notices his friend Layak handcuffed on the deck and decides to rescue him. In a bold move, he jumps onto the deck and moves his massive fins, throwing away many soldiers and destroying the ship. Jake and the Metcaina take advantage of the distraction to launch their counterattack on the Colonel's army. In the midst of chaos, Spider destroys the control of the whale ship, causing it to crash into rocks and fill with water. Jake and his eldest son, Neytiri, quickly rescue Layak, Tuck, and Kiri. The elders instruct the children to return to safety, but Layak refuses and goes on to save his adopted brother, Spider, with Neytiri joining in. However, during their escape, the Colonel sees them and starts shooting. Tragically, Neytiri is hit and severely injured, eventually dying from blood loss. Neytiri, devastated by the loss of her son, and breaks down in tears and screams. Meanwhile, the evil Colonel captures Kiri and Tuck using his scout and reveals to Jake that both daughters are with him. In an effort to rescue their daughters, Neytiri calls her scout, grabs her bow and arrows, and goes flying towards the ship. As Jake approaches the ship, he causes an explosion, killing the Colonel's men. Neytiri also arrives on the scene and starts shooting arrows at the remaining humans, killing them instantly. Meanwhile, Jake finds his daughter, Tuck, and frees her. However, the Colonel also appears, holding Kiri at knife point and threatening Jake to put down his weapons. Jake reluctantly complies. Neytiri takes advantage of the situation and captures Spider, threatening to kill him. The Colonel initially denies any connection to Spider, but when Neytiri makes a small cut in the boy's chest, he immediately releases Kiri. After this, Neytiri and her family prepare to leave, but the Colonel warns that he will continue to hunt Jake and kill him. Jake realizes that he must eliminate the Colonel in order to have a peaceful life, so he returns to the battlefield. The two men engage in a brutal fist fight, matching each other stride for stride. In the end, Jake prevails in defeating the Colonel by wrapping his arms around his neck and knocking him unconscious. Believing the Colonel to be dead, Jake allows him to drown in the water, but he too struggles to breathe and begins sinking to the bottom. Fortunately, Layak comes to his rescue and brings him back to the surface. Later, Payakan brings Jake's family to the shore. Meanwhile, Spider saves the life of his biological father, the Colonel, but when the Colonel asks him to leave with him, Spider refuses and returns to his adoptive family. The movie ends with the Metcaina tribe burying Neytiri's body at the bottom of the ocean, surrounded by lighting tubes. Jake remembers his best memories of his elder son and believes he is now in heaven with their gods. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing.